Okay, well, let's get started. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone that's joined us today for the Snowflake and Google Cloud webinar. We've got people joining from all across EMEA and also North America as well. So it's an opportunity for us to tell you about Snowflake's announcement about availability on Google Cloud. So what we're going to take you through today is I'll introduce myself and the presentation panel, and then we're going to talk through Snowflake and our cloud data platform, and then we're going to go through Google Cloud, what their differentiation is in the market, how they've gained such momentum, and actually really how they're partnering with ISV platforms such as Snowflake. And then we'll take a deeper dive on Snowflake on GCP, talk through some of our early successes, but we've seen a lot of demand for Snowflake over in the EMEA markets already. And then we'll be taking Q&A. So you are able to ask questions through the chat window. So we do encourage you to do that, and then the team will field those as we go through and at the Q&A section. So my name is Tony Young. I'm a senior manager in the Cloud Alliances team here at Snowflake. I'm also joined by Paul Gantz, who is our solution architect for Snowflake on GCP. And the third Snowflake member is Brian, and Brian is one of our product managers at Snowflake. And then we've also been joined by Naveen. So Naveen is one of the technology partnership leads over at Google Cloud. So as we said, we're expecting lots of questions, so please don't be shy. So what is Snowflake? And I wanted to start with the reason that our founders created Snowflake. And the vision was they wanted to provide a platform that could enable every organization to be data-driven, and that was very much what they wanted to give customers: the ability to manage and use large and complex sets of data, but being able to extract value from that. And through their experiences, and they'd seen that the legacy data platforms were failing and struggling with the modern demands of data. And that wasn't just, based on, complex technologies, but also, the investments and quite large investments that many customers had to make in getting value from that data. And that payoff wasn't always working. And as we know, kind of on-premise relational data systems, they struggle to keep up with the exponential growth that we're all seeing in data today. And, trying to meet that demand is very tough in an IT department, a procurement department, and they saw that there was a better way to actually manage that. But also, Snowflake was built, architected, new architecture, new code, for the cloud. So there was never an on-premise version of Snowflake. So we believe that gives us, an advantage versus systems that were born on-premise and then moved to the cloud, because you're really just then moving the problem you have from A to B. And we're delivered as we're a software as a service. And with the maturity in cloud and with, more and more industries and companies of all shapes and sizes now having trust and confidence in the cloud, then, there's no better time to start working with SaaS models. And those, that ability to be delivered as a service, have near to zero maintenance, provides scalability, but also kind of a flexible payment options as being proven by many companies that come before us, including Salesforce, ServiceNow, and Workday. And as these companies are been able to mature, but they're able to take advantage of the investments in security that the cloud platforms provide, but also in kind of their ability to keep data secure. So Snowflake, we're a cloud data platform, and we believe there are, three unique characteristics for a cloud data platform. First and foremost, just jump slides there. Apologies for that. There are three unique characteristics for a cloud data platform. So first and foremost, it's a data warehouse that can operate across every cloud and every region. Secondly, it enables secure, and security is something that Snowflake obsesses about, but secure governed access to all of your data. And when we talk about all of your data, Snowflake is able to manage structured, but also semi-structured data, so we can ingest and query semi-structured data natively within the platform. But also, it's very important that businesses can trust and have a single view of that data. So as we are able to manage most data types for our customers, then there's a single view of the truth, and that means that we can we have very many workloads and many applications that can be built on top of Snowflake. So our unique architecture and the flexibility of the cloud has meant that our customers have been able to use Snowflake across many, many use cases and workloads in their business. And those include, we started out as a data warehouse, but as we've been able to manage, more and more data types for our customers, and the economies of cloud storage means that customers have started to use Snowflake as a SQL data lake. But we also have been able to enable customers to share the data in the Snowflake Data Exchange. And that data can be shared securely, but we can also allow them to share live data across their business, but also with external data consumers or data partners to either enhance their own data sets to then run more advanced and complex data analytics or data science use cases on top of those. And with and Snowflake is now a true multi-cloud data platform. So with our launch on GCP, we're able to offer our customers high availability and secure data across 3 clouds in any region as well. But what makes Snowflake unique? And we always start with our architecture. So our architecture, we're able to have a multi-clustered shared data architecture, which means, we've got an architecture which separates our storage and compute layers, so they are decoupled, but they can also scale up and down automatically as demand requires without impacting performance. Micro-partitioning, so the ability to manage all of the structured and semi-structured data, so we can manage JSON, Parquet, etc. natively within Snowflake, and we can do that at infinite scale. And as I said before, we can make that data easily shareable across your business. So we have external data sharing, which you can share with consumers and partners, and that is access to live data. And we're delivered as a service, so that means Snowflake is incredibly easy to use. And once your data is in Snowflake, we take care of the rest. So there's no need to index, prune, or really heavy administration within Snowflake. And this is what we call near to zero management, allowing our customers to focus on the value within their data. But I also mentioned at the start that we've got a unique advantage in that we were built specifically to take advantage of the flexibility and the infinite scale that the cloud provides. And we see this, as getting more value than systems that have been started on premise and then moved into the cloud. So our ability that we're a SQL ANSI database at our heart, but that means we're a very good landing point for the legacy data warehouse and data platforms to be moved into the cloud. As I said, we now have the ability to manage most of our customers' data. So that's a single source of the truth, but also our customers have the ability to isolate workloads across the business and allow different areas of the business and different applications to use Snowflake. And when we talk about our compute and concurrency, we say it's unlimited. So we can scale up as demand requires, but when that demand is not required, Snowflake will automatically scale back down. And then we've got our model is really based on pay for what you use as well. And as Snowflake has evolved, from being a data warehouse to a data lake, it means that as a single platform with all of that flexibility and all of that security and the ability to share data, manage different workloads, and have more data available to your users and your applications. It means that we have many workloads that our customers are using across all industries, but also from enterprise businesses down to SMB businesses as well. So I'm going to pass over to Naveen to talk you through Google Cloud.
Thanks, Tony. Naveen here. I lead our data and analytics partnerships at Google Cloud. Before I talk in a bit more depth, I do want to apologize. I'm seeing some challenges on slide movement at our end. So while I go to the right slide, you'll see some switches. So I want to start, hopefully you see the slide now, but I want to start first in terms of some of the big trends that we are seeing on the cloud side, right? Every industry is becoming a digital industry because of the growth of digital devices and software advances. Automobiles are becoming software driven, receiving regular updates, much like a laptop or a phone would. Drug discovery is now becoming increasingly dependent on big data and AI, not just chemistry. Financial services institutions are becoming supply chains for digital instruments. With all these trends going on, we know for a fact that traditional on-premise solutions are no longer cutting it. By 2021, over 75% of mid-size and large-size organizations will be adopting multi-cloud and hybrid IT strategies. So as the business innovation is increasingly becoming driven by software, driven by cloud, all those factors will be essential to how the world shapes up in the coming few years. By 2025, some of the world's data is expected to swell more than 5 times its current size, and leading organizations will be harnessing this data to launch new business models, create new customized customer experiences, and optimized operations to drive their cost further down. And the way we see it is the scale and the power of cloud is critical, and that Google Cloud is the best partner that can help you in this journey. When your organization is looking to build new applications on the cloud or transform your current infrastructure, Google Cloud can bring in a lot of advances. We have found that organizations generally have cloud initiatives across 3 main areas. They think about new workloads, they think about migration of on-premise workloads to the cloud, and they think about full-scale digital transformation. Google brings value across this entire spectrum with far fewer outages than what you would experience on other clouds, as well as a leading data and analytics capabilities that we'll touch upon a bit later as well. But more importantly, I think Google brings in that culture of innovation, which is driving the overall ecosystem forward. Just to highlight a few things, while Google Cloud initially started with a lot of focus on disrupting cloud-native startups and how they were adopting cloud, global enterprises are now increasingly adopting Google Cloud for complex legacy infrastructure modernization. They select Google Cloud increasingly as an important partner, and that's where our focus is. We have an outstanding success with large global companies in every industry as they embark on their digital transformation journey. So what essentially makes Google Cloud different? I wanted to touch upon the 5 pillars that drive that motion. We deliver, number one, we deliver end-to-end security solutions from the data center all the way to the devices, and a purpose-built infrastructure and security by default. The second tenet is we believe in an open cloud, and we have designed Google Cloud to support whatever systems best suit your needs, whether hybrid or multi-cloud or something in between. The third I would call out is that we strive to make cloud easy, automating manual tasks, configurations, wherever possible, so your team can focus on development and less of managing infrastructure. If you think about many of the challenges many of us face in the data and analytics ecosystem, for example, the world is generating a lot more data than ever before, but we know for a fact that not all of the data is being processed to derive insights. And a part of the fact is it's not easy. The systems have not been easy to do that so far, and cloud is enabling a lot of that. The fourth tenet would be intelligence in everything. A lot of the enhancements that we are doing on the AI machine learning side, driving intelligence into the overall platform, is a key tenet and a differentiator for us. And lastly, we bring you the best of Google. I think there are multiple other aspects of solutions that Google drives, and adoption of Google Cloud helps you bridge and leverage many of those capabilities that we offer. To go a bit deeper on the security side, recently Forrester came out with a report scoring Google Cloud as the highest for its strategy across cloud providers on native security. Google brings you end-to-end security with custom-built layers from infrastructure to endpoints derived from our own experiences of protecting billions of customers through our Google service. Our privately managed network infrastructure is one of the largest in the industry and ensures that your information and applications are least exposed to public internet and its inherent risk. And on top of that, we offer VPC service controls that allow you to further define your own security parameters around the GCP resources. And one more call out is only Google Cloud offers encryption at rest by default. I think these are the key tenets that make our platform, so to say, best in class in security. And while we spoke about a tenet of open cloud, I want to highlight that a bit further. We are extremely committed to open cloud, enabling our customers to set up the optimal solutions, spanning on-premise, on other clouds, without being logged into a single provider. We recently announced, and we're doubling down on the availability of Anthos, which is a single platform for multi-cloud management, allowing you to deploy applications across hybrid and multi-cloud environments without changing the underlying code. Anthos offers full suite of features, including migration, configuration management, and all of that. So something for you to keep an eye out, as Google will be investing a lot in that area. Google also extends its versatility across the open source ecosystem. We believe in the power of open source to give customers the freedom to choose where to deploy their workloads and avoid vendor lock-in. Google is the #1 contributor to Cloud Native Computing Foundation's open source development, furthermore driving innovation around TensorFlow, Kubernetes. All of that continues, and we want to make sure that the customers get the advantages of everything Google has been working on from an innovation side internally. And on the AI and ML front, Google sets the bar, if you will, on AI and ML innovation. To start with, Google is extremely focused on democratizing AI and ML to unlock organization-wide value of data. Users can now use a range of pre-built AutoML algorithms, whether through AutoML tables and to run predictive analytics on structured data. AutoML, natural language processing, custom entity extraction to analyze customer sentiment, all of it is possible through many of the AutoML APIs that we are exposing right now. Google also offers machine learning built models that make it easy for you to embed AI and ML into products and services that you are building of your own. For example, our clouds, speech to text and other API services that are ready to consume for you right from the get-go. And I think we are driving a lot of the innovation primarily also on the infrastructure side of machine learning. So building custom-built hardware like TensorFlow processing units so that when you are experiencing model creation and insights through these machine learning models, all of it is optimized to run much more efficiently on Google Cloud. And to build on top of our foundation, I would call everything that we are doing as one of the key foundation areas. We are also building a range of industry-specific solutions along with partners, whether you call it Accenture, Deloitte, using Google Cloud technology in machine learning and other areas for specific industries. These solutions are designed to provide immediate value to customers by delivering new capability or transforming any existing business processes fundamentally. So if you're in media and entertainment, we can take all your media, digitize it, create it, catalog it, aggregate it, and make it searchable, distribute it out to your streaming network, and allow you to build a direct-to-consumer business model or redefine it. In healthcare, we are working with many of our partners in hospitality, software providers, as well as other partners on building solutions. For example, we recently announced Cloud Healthcare API. It's one of the fastest growing new APIs in the healthcare space, which is making easier for systems in the healthcare space to be interoperable. And in addition to working with our partners to drive adoption of industry solutions and make it easier for customers, we're also working very, very collaboratively with our technology partners as well as infrastructure partners to make it easier for you to build these solutions and have a much broader foundation. One of the things we believe, especially on the data and analytics side, our goal is for Google Cloud to be the best platform for analytics. And what that essentially means is solutions that customers want running on Google Cloud, we want to make sure that they run best on Google. And that's one of the key tenets in terms of our partnership with Snowflake as well, and that applies across the board. The other thing that we touched upon earlier was Google Cloud's commitment to being open, and we want to make sure that we bring that openness in terms of how we are working with our partner ecosystem. So if you think about our partnership principles, openness is a very key aspect of that, but we also want to drive shared success for our customers. So when we are thinking about building joint solutions with our partners, we start with a customer-oriented approach, take a look at how they're thinking about the net solutions and solving their pain points, and build that ground up. So with that, I'll pause and pass the baton over to Paul, who'll take the conversation forward from the Snowflake side.
Great, and thanks, Naveen. So I'm going to talk about why Snowflake and Google Cloud. My name is Paul Gans. I'm the Partner Solutions Architect for Snowflake on GCP. First, let's just imagine a world where you can support unlimited concurrency. That means all of your users accessing all of the data they need at the same time. And a world where the storage and compute resources you need scale up and down instantly. So you're always using just the right amount of resources, never more or less than you need. In a world where all of your structured data, that's the data typically stored in data warehouses, can live side by side and peacefully coexist and be joined with all of the semi-structured data you probably stored and managed separately, such as mobile, social data, log data, other IoT data, that data that you might have petabytes of that data. And because Snowflake is delivered as a service, it's all in a way that's easy to manage with the existing skill sets you already have in your organization, and with all the security you expect and demand, even for those of you in highly regulated industries requiring the highest levels of security. Plus, as Tony mentioned earlier, the ability to securely share live data both within your organization and with customers and partners outside your organization. So that's the world that Snowflake customers live in. So how does it work? Well, first, as Tony mentioned, data is stored once in Google Cloud Storage, but can be accessed by any number of separate, isolated MPP compute clusters, which we call virtual warehouses, all of which see a transactionally consistent view of the data. So while ETL may be running all day on one compute cluster, data science users can be running on a completely separate compute cluster, which has no impact on reporting users running on a different cluster, and so on. And each of these compute clusters can be a different t-shirt size, from a single node extra small cluster to a 128 node 4XL cluster. And with Snowflake, you pay by the second for the number of nodes you're currently running. So you pay only for what you need when you need it. So in the example shown in this picture, we have ETL processes running all day on its own 2-node small cluster. And when a big batch of data comes in at night, it's instantly, and that means in under a second, resized to a 16-node extra large cluster. When data science users run a job, an appropriately sized cluster is instantly started for them and automatically shut down when no longer in use. And for the reporting users running on a small cluster, we can automatically create additional clusters as the workload and concurrency increases, and then automatically shut down clusters as the workload subsides. So whether the demand is expected, or even for those times when you get lots of unexpected demand that you didn't plan for, the user experience is consistent without you having to size for and always pay for the peak usage. I know many of you are looking to move your legacy data warehouses, such as Teradata, Oracle, Netezza, Vertica, Greenplum, others, to Google Cloud. So why is Snowflake the ideal platform for that? Well, Snowflake supports full standard ANSI SQL, which makes it easier to migrate from those legacy SQL platforms. That support includes things like stored procedures, multi-statement transactions, which simplify the migration of your data pipelines, full support and the performance you'd expect for complex data models that you may already be using, whether it's a star, Snowflake, or other type of data model. It includes role-based access control for setting fine-grained privileges, and features such as time travel, which allows you to see what the data looked like up to 90 days in the past, and to instantly recover from any processing mistakes you may make, such as dropping a table or deleting the wrong data by accident. We know it's important for you to run the Snowflake service on the cloud that makes the most sense for your workload. The interface for Snowflake service is the same for all clouds, and Snowflake supports both cross-region and cross-cloud data replication, which makes it easy to migrate from one region or cloud to another, or to maintain accounts on multiple regions or clouds, depending on the workload, or for DR or business continuity reasons. So what does this look like specifically on Google Cloud? First, Snowflake is internally using the native GCP resources, such as Google Cloud Storage, Google Compute, Google Networking and Security, etc. We load data from and stage data in Google Cloud Storage, GCS, and while all data is encrypted both at rest and in motion at all times. We allow you to also bring your own key using Google Key Management or KMS service. Looker, soon to be a Google company, is one of the most popular tools used by Snowflake customers, but you can use other BI tools such as Data Studio. Our Spark connector can be used to integrate with Cloud Data Proc, which is Google's popular Spark and Hadoop service. We're also building native connectors, including an Apache Beam connector for Cloud Data Flow, a CDAP connector for Cloud Data Fusion, to make it easy to get data in and out of Snowflake using native GCP tools that you may already be using, as well as integrations with Google machine learning tools and platforms. And finally, with Snowflake, we also make it easier for you to migrate your existing on-prem solutions or the solutions you've already been using because of our huge landscape of technology partners that already support the Snowflake service, whether it's the data pipeline and data integration tools, your BI tools, advanced analytics, security and governance, et cetera. Plus, as a SQL database, we support lots of languages such as R, Python, Go, Java. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brian Welker to talk about some of our customer successes.
Thank you, Paul. I'm Brian Welker. I'm the product manager for Snowflake on Google Cloud. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of our early customer successes. At Snowflake, we put the customer first in everything we do, and we're really proud of the trust that we've built with our customers over our relatively short time. One of the results of this focus is reflected in our 2019 Customer Experience Report, which you can download online. And our customers awarded us a Net Promoter Score of 74, which is about 3 times higher than the industry average for B2B technology providers. And this means that 3/4 of our customers rated a Snowflake a 9 or a 10 on a 10-point scale on how likely they are to recommend us to others. Also, for the second year in a row, Snowflake received a perfect recommendation score from our customers in the Dresner Advisory Analytical Data Infrastructure Market Survey. And we've received high marks across all the metrics in the study's 2 models, including customer experience and vendor credibility. Once again, available up on the Snowflake website if you'd like to take a look at that. And finally, we commissioned Forrester Consulting to conduct a total economic impact study to examine the return on investment that enterprises get from Snowflake rather than deploying an on-premise alternative. And Forrester interviewed several of our customers who chose Snowflake over these traditional alternatives and discovered that they got a 3-month, 604% return on investment from things like moving legacy storage, from saving on compute cost, from the ETL cost, reduced cost of management, faster time production, and labor costs. So enormous gains from choosing Snowflake over a traditional legacy data warehouse. And although Snowflake has only been generally available since 2015, we've seen amazing growth in the last several years. And every day now over 2,500 organizations depend on Snowflake to run their businesses, providing that data to tens of thousands of users. Snowflake customers come from every industry, financial services, healthcare, retail, media and entertainment, and Snowflake customers range from small startups to large enterprises. We also have Snowflake customers who have migrated from existing legacy on-prem data warehouses, but we also have net new greenfield deployments where the customers completely building out a new data management capability. McKesson is a global leader in the pharmaceutical and medical supply distribution and healthcare technology solutions. And McKesson is leveraging Snowflake for their cloud-first approach to healthcare. And we're excited to work closely with McKesson during the development of Snowflake on Google Cloud. And as we move forward to general availability of Snowflake on Google Cloud, we're excited to see McKesson rolling out Snowflake throughout their organization and meeting the needs of their users. So with that, I'll provide some resources. We are currently we're in the midst of our public preview for Snowflake on Google Cloud. So we encourage you to register for that at snowflake.com/GCP, and you can also read about the solution. We do have a 30-day free trial with Snowflake. We're going to soon offer that on Google Cloud as well. So that's coming in the next few weeks. We expect to reach general availability of Snowflake on Google Cloud in early Q1 of next year. So look forward to that. And we'll have more information if you want to take a look at our weekly webinars. Go to snowflake.com/about/webinars. And with that, we have some time to answer some of your questions. So I'll hand it back to Tony to look at some of the questions that have come in.
Great. Thank you very much, Brian. And yeah, well, good to see we're keeping to time. So thanks everyone for managing that. Yeah. So we've got a load of questions. So let's go through them. But Brian, as you just kind of touched on our general availability. What are the regions that Snowflake on the GCP will be available at GA?
Yeah, so our planned GA regions for Snowflake on Google Cloud are in the U.S. Central 1 region in the U.S. That's in Iowa. And we'll also have Snowflake available in Europe West 4 in the Netherlands in Europe. We will continue to expand the Snowflake on Google Cloud footprint with other regions in both North America and Europe after we reach general availability.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and this, I think this is probably a question for Paul and Brian. But I mean, are there any tools available to automate migration of procedures in existing on-premise data warehouses into Snowflake directly?
Yeah, this is Paul. I'll take that. So yeah, so Snowflake Professional Services can help with that migration. We have tooling that will automate the migration of stored procedures, BTEC scripts, Netezza procedures and scripts into Snowflake SQL, and can make that process much smoother and easier.
Great. Okay. Yeah, and we kind of talked about Snowflake's architecture and our separation of storage of compute, but I guess either, again, Brian or Paul, but can you just elaborate on some of the advantages of being able to separate storage and compute?
Yeah, well, the advantage of being able to do that is that you can scale them independently. So you can have as much storage as needed. You can have petabytes of storage with a little bit of compute, or a little bit of storage with a lot of compute for lots of users. You can also, because we separate storage and compute, you can also have all those different workloads running on their own compute clusters that are sized appropriately for each workload. So as I said, ETL can run on a certain size cluster, BI users on a different cluster, data science users, maybe they need a really big cluster at some times and maybe they don't. And all of these workloads are completely isolated from each other and have no impact on each other.
Right. I just want to add, actually I want to add a little bit to what Paul said. And when we say storage, we mean the underlying cloud provider storage. So Snowflake data is stored in Google Cloud Storage. We don't charge any additional pricing, we don't upcharge that storage. So when you put data in Snowflake, we actually compress that and store it into GCS, which means that there's no downside to putting all your data into Snowflake. You don't have to scale up compute, as Paul noted, but storage in Snowflake is very, very efficient.
Great. And Brian, just while you're on that, I mean, can you just talk through the Snowflake pricing model and how we charge outside of storage?
Sure. So Snowflake for compute is based on Snowflake credits, and depending on which edition of Snowflake you're using, there'll be a different per credit price. And as you're using Snowflake Compute, as you're running your queries, you're consuming Snowflake credits on a per second basis. And we only charge you for the compute that you're using while you're, while you've turned it on and are using it. If you can choose to scale up, you can scale down. And so that pricing is based on the number of credits consumed during the billing period. The other components that we charge for, I mentioned storage. We pass along the underlying storage cost for storing your data into Google Cloud Storage. And then the last cost is in data transfer. So if you're egressing data out to the internet, we pass along the data transfer charges from the cloud provider as well. Once again, we don't mark up data transfer. We just pass those along to the customer.
Great. Okay. And yeah, just lots of questions again about how Snowflake kind of fits into the general Google Cloud ecosystem, but also how we complement and integrate with other services, especially BigQuery.
Sure, I can take a stab at this one. So as Paul noted on the diagram, we're working on making sure that Snowflake integrates with the analytic services that people are using in Google Cloud. So we're working on native integration to make it really easy to get data into Snowflake from either streaming or batch or wherever your data is sitting. We do have customers who are using services like BigQuery behind their applications, but also using Snowflake as their enterprise data warehouse and their single source of truth throughout the organization. So we really see the services provided, the analytics services are provided, especially in AI and ML, as really complementary to Snowflake as a big data platform.
Okay, great. Thank you. And there's lots of questions about, specific industry, so telco, banking, etc. So, I mean, Snowflake is being used across all major industries, from some very, very large customers doing petabyte scale down to smaller SMB customers. But if you go onto our website, we have all of the many different customer stories for you to look at as well. And obviously, we've spoken about multi-cloud, so there's been some questions around what is the feature comparison across clouds and the price comparison across clouds.
So feature-wise, the Snowflake on GCP is the same features as Snowflake on other clouds, and pricing is also the same in the same region. So U.S. pricing is the same with Snowflake on GCP versus other clouds. EMEA pricing is the same as Snowflake on other clouds in those regions.
Great, thanks. And Naveen, we've got a couple of questions about Snowflake's availability on the marketplace.
Yes, both sides are diligently working towards how do we enable the path for that. The first objective in terms of how we were approaching it is to make Snowflake first running available on across multiple regions. marketplace, while we don't have a defined date/timeline on it, it's something definitely both teams are looking at. And I think 2020 is definitely how we can, we'll get back to you on exact dates and times, but not something that we are missing out.
Okay, great. Yeah, and Paul, just coming back, maybe for Paul or Brian, but just typically, you know, what I mean, I know there's no kind of standard answer for this, but in terms of Snowflake implementations, you know, what can people expect depending on kind of the use case? Just some general guidance.
As far as timelines,
yeah.
So it's migrating to Snowflake. It depends, of course, whether this is a new project or where the new data model, or you're doing a migration or a lift and shift of what you've got. So the migration part to Snowflake is generally pretty quick and easy, in that we support probably the majority of the standard SQL you're already using. The data should be fairly easy to get out of your systems in either CSV or JSON or some other format and load into Snowflake. Then it's a matter of hooking up and migrating your tools, so BI tools, ETL tools, data pipeline tools, data science tools. So it's great to always start with a single project in mind, and a given set of users and a workload, and then continue to add more to it. The beauty of Snowflake is that it's very easy to just continue to add projects, new workloads, new users, without having to configure or procure anything new. It's just a matter of, oh, here's a new workload, here's some more data, let's load that in, and give them some compute resources to use it.
Great. Okay. Well, let's take a couple of more. Yeah, so I mean, do we have, I guess there's been some questions around Snowflake's integration with Google Sheets. So is that being planned or on the roadmap?
Yeah, this is Brian. We're definitely we're talking to the Google Sheets team and working on how to integrate Google Sheets with Snowflake. I don't think we're going to have that at general availability, but it is definitely something that's on our roadmap. I also wanted to, I also saw a question about migrating from Snowflake on other clouds to GCP, so I want to talk a little bit about that. As Paul, I think, showed, we do support the ability to replicate or migrate between clouds. So the great news there is that if you're running Snowflake on another cloud, we can move the data into Google Cloud very quickly. It's moved in a compressed form it's highly parallelized so that we can move very large databases across the wire. Obviously, we're limited by internet bandwidth, but we can migrate securely into Google Cloud and get you up and running very quickly.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Okay. Well, I think we answered most of the questions. So as kind of as Brian kind of pointed out in the resources section, you can go to snowflake.com/GCP. You can register for our public preview. I believe we're making the recording available on demand, so an email will be sent out to everyone to be able to access that. But what we'll do is we'll wrap up the actual webinar, and then we'll hang around just to take any questions that are coming through the chat window, and we'll do that for the next 10 minutes. So thanks everyone for your time and your interest, and enjoy the rest of your week as well. So thanks again.
Goodbye.